Tutors, mentors, and the city with your host.com.
The City Tutors presents
Tutors, mentors, and the city
with your host.com.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Tutors, Mentors, and the City. This is the Black History Month edition. My name is Kevin.com Brown, and thank you so much for joining us. And like I do pretty much every episode, I'm just going to jump right in and introduce our guest. Please join me in welcoming our guest for this special Black History Month edition of Tutors, Mentors, and the City. Give it up for Miss Shanelle Gabriel. Yay!
Hi, so good to be on here. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you, Shanelle. Thank you for joining me. Now, I know you can see, I want everyone to see, I'm wearing my Black History Month hoodie, right? And full disclosure for anyone that doesn't know, I dropped out of college back in 1988. I returned to college in 2021 to get my bachelor's degree. I was out of college for so long, my major was no longer there. So I had 121 credits and no major to attach them to. And the amazing thing is, this white female advisor said, Kevin, you should consider taking Black studies. Right? So I had to take 30 credits of Black studies in order to qualify as a major and attach my 121 credits to it. So I have a bachelor's degree in Black studies now, right? And I'm finishing a master's degree it's called interdisciplinary studies, but my focus, my emphasis is Black studies. So I'm Africana studies all the way. So
that's awesome.
Yes. So I have a new knowledge, a new insight on the struggle. And I am honored to be here and have a chance to share this platform with you. So
Thank you for having me, and congratulations on all of this. This is so wonderful.
Yes, thank you. I feel reinvigorated, right? I feel reinvigorated. And again, it's one thing to be a Black person in America, but when you go to the books, when you go to the literature, when you go and read the history yourself, right? It's totally different from having it translated by someone else. Totally different. So, and I'm so excited to hear other people's views. So I've always respected Black women. My mother, Black woman, my sister's Black woman, my daughter is a Black woman. So I've always had an amazing respect and adoring of Black women. But when you go read the history books, if it weren't for Black women, oh my goodness, Black women held our entire race together, right? Our entire generation, our entire culture is still here because of Black women. So having my first guest being a Black woman, I'm so interested in your perspective. So that being said, my first question to you is, I'm going to throw my first and my second question to you at the same time. First of all, let the audience know who you are, and then tell us your thoughts, your views on Black History Month.
Awesome. Well, my name is Shanelle Gabriel. I am a poet, singer, educator, and lupus advocate. I am the head of Starting Something Productions, which is a consulting agency that does art-based and education-based programming and events throughout New York City and abroad. So it is a blessing to be here. I am a college graduate. I am a native of Brooklyn, New York. And I love being here. And Black History Month to me is, it's like we're thankful for every day, but we celebrate our birth on our birthday, right? And I look at Black History Month as that. This is the moment that we can really, really take the time and care to really recognize the impact that Black people, people of the African American and African diaspora, the things that we have contributed to the greater world. This is not Slavery Celebration Month. This is not just, this is us being able to say, we do so many things and we've done so many things and we're continuing to do so many things and we will be even bigger, stronger as a community in this world. I think that that's what Black History Month is. It's a time to really, really focus on that and buckle down and be proud and learn and educate ourselves on our own history, as well as everyone else learning our history.
Very well said. Thank you so much. So I'm a stand-up comedian by trade, and I have to ask this question. What are your thoughts on Black History Month being the shortest month of the year?
I don't think that anyone was literally like, we'll give them February because it's not 30 days. I want to believe that no one did that. You can't be surprised, but I want to believe that no one did that. I think it's just, I think I don't know if it really even matters in real life. I think it's a very tongue in cheek. We always joke about it as a community. Like, of course they gave us, we don't even know if we have 28 or 29 days, but every single day should be Black History Month. We should be studying Black history all year round anyway. So like Black history is history. We are literally the creators of so much that we take for granted on a regular basis. So much of why quote unquote white history or American history involves Black history. So whether it's 28 or 29 days, I think the feeling is still sentimental. The feeling is still there. Black History Month is important.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now that I'm a scholar, now that I'm a Black history scholar, right?
Okay, go ahead, tell me.
Yes. So for anyone that doesn't know, a guy named Carter G. Woodson, he created Black History Week in 1926. And he picked the date, not because it was the shortest month of the year, but because of Frederick Douglass' birthday, right? Yeah. That's what, if you Google it, that's what Google will say. He picked it because that was the month of Frederick Douglass' birthday. So then I read the autobiography of Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass didn't know when his birthday was. Born a slave, he never really knew when his birthday was, so he just picked the date, but he was guessing. Okay.
Like I said, we don't never know. I do definitely know it was Negro Week. That was originally what the name was, and I know that he did that. But I think at the end of the day, we could have said it was June. It doesn't matter. I think it just like, let's just celebrate and call it just enjoy it. And I think that that's where I am at this point. But I definitely know that there's, like I said, it's so much going on that to nitpick that I feel like it's almost like, why we got to fight? We finally got a month. We're like, but we don't like the month. Let's just enjoy it.
All right. So let's go with that. Let's build on that. Now, we know what we do on our birthdays. We have ceremonies for our birthdays, right? You get the cake and some candles and your family celebrate, half family and whatever, your loved ones get together and they sing happy birthday to you. We know Valentine's Day is roses and flowers and candy hearts and chocolates and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. We don't have a thing for Black History Month. What is our thing?
I don't think we can. I think there's so many ways to celebrate. Just like for a birthday, sometimes people just go on an island by themselves without their family and friends. I think it does have to be, I think there's something about making a note of it. I think there's something about recognizing it and celebrating things within it. Like I, have a great playlist that has really great music on it by my favorite Black artists. It can look different for everyone. And I think that that's still a value to it. I think it's important for it to mean something, to be meaningful and really reflective of the communities that it's serving. It should not be performative. I think that that's the struggle that happens with all of the themed months, honestly, but definitely Black History Month in particular, where it's like, let's just grab somebody Black and put them in front of an audience. Like I do think it should be intentional and thoughtful, because it means a lot. And there's no world where our ancestors could have imagined people celebrating their skin color, their history and legacy. So I always think about that, our ancestors, how would they feel if they were here to witness some of these things that we take for granted, or maybe that don't always get the kind of love it deserves? How would our ancestors feel knowing that they're memorialized in a month, that this is a season literally dedicated to the memory of them and to also honoring what's coming in the future for our people? So it can look different ways. It can be a dance. I've seen, people say dance for Black History Month is a party. It can be a little bit of anything. I think as long as it's intentional.
Okay, very well said. Thank you so much. So as you were speaking, I envisioned as you were speaking, Barack Obama's inauguration. And I remember the vision that literally came to my mind while you were talking just now was that when they put the camera on Jesse Jackson and he had his finger on his lips and he was crying, and we heard from Jesse Jackson and for generations, Operation Push, and ran for president, and and all the things that he stood for, and Dr. King and such. But the tears, the face, the expression was worth a million words, right? So as you were speaking, you said, how would our ancestors feel? What would they think? They couldn't have imagined some of the things we've experienced in this lifetime. Can you try to put into words how you think they might feel as a result if they were able to witness a first African-American president, or a Black History Month, or just the strides that have been made? Can you try to put into words how they might feel?
I can't even imagine. They would probably think that they went somewhere. They probably think, oh my, I must need to go to the psych ward, because this is so far away from what I think I had access to. Those are the things that should motivate us as we're moving forward in our lives, like really thinking about what strides we made, being proud of the things that we've accomplished as a people, as a community, and also recognizing what needs to still continue changing. And sometimes I think we get so caught up in the things that need to be changing that we don't show the TLC, show the love to all of the amazing work that we've done thus far. I think about Barack Obama becoming president, and it was, of course, it is. I remember, everybody giving high fives in Union Square, and people running up on my car, like I'm in my car, and they're like, yeah, and people honking. I remember the joy, and I think, even further than that, we're thinking about the Black president. I think it doesn't stop there. How do we continue to like build upon this legacy and continue to make our ancestors proud, not just being happy with these milestones, but how do we continue doing that? And I also, as we're in an election year and everyone has so much to say about our candidates and the process and things of that nature, I'm still thinking about my ancestors who did not have the right to vote, as we're entering this season, and how we show up for this. So I continue to think like we're making our ancestors proud. We are our ancestors' wildest dreams. They couldn't even imagine this, and I think that also brings upon us a duty to continue and recognize the legacy that is a part of it. There's a reason why we still vote, and it's not because we like the person or because the candidate spoke to our soul, which is something that I'm hearing. It's like, they don't speak to my soul. I'm like, we're not getting Barack Obama back in office. He's not coming. He is retired. But what does it mean for us to still participate in the process that our ancestors fought for, And so I'm continue to think that they would be very proud, and they would be very curious about where we're going to go next.
Okay, so this is going to be my final question. I'm going to set it up like this. The same way we both think about that our ancestors didn't have the right to vote. So I go back to school and I hear some statistics, right?
Mm-hmm.
I heard recently from a colleague of mine who's a superintendent in public school in Brooklyn. And he said, what the average reading level is in the public schools in Brooklyn? And he said a horrible number, fourth grade reading level, sixth grade reading level, something to that effect. And he said there is a direct correlation between low reading levels and increased incarceration rates. So then again, I'm back in school and I'm thinking differently now. So we think about our ancestors who didn't have the right to vote, but I think about now my classmates. They have statistics of if a child grows up in a certain zip code, right? They can tell by your zip code if you're going to fail or if you're going to succeed in life. So I start the question with that. And then say, remember that song, We Shall Overcome? My last question to you is, and you can take as long as you want answering it, have we overcome?
We'll never overcome. There's no such thing as overcoming. We are always constantly growing and learning and building. That's like saying, have we made it in life? Like there's always going to be a challenge. There's always going to be the need for growth. It's going to continue to happen. And I'm one of those people that doesn't believe that we're all of a sudden going to get it all together. Like, I feel like it's always going to be, racism always changes. All of the isms and all of the forms of oppression always shape shift and change into other forms. They don't always leave the way that we think they should. And that's one example of it. I think that in order to reach that phase where we feel like we have continued to move forward, we really need to focus on what are the things that are most important. What are the skills that our young people need to have, our children need to have. One thing that was really important when we were growing up, and I say for myself in the 80s, 80s and 90s, the community was so important, and we don't have that as much, where we have teachers that felt like aunties, that literally were so invested, and where we had parents that knew the teachers. One of the things that in my work in different schools and consulting and expanding teacher literacy and things of that nature, I talk about literacy a lot. One of the things that I always say is like how I think about how much I treat my students as babies, as my children. And what does that look like? And I always said the sign of a good school is how active their PTA is. And, it is harder in a world. There's so many compounding conflicts and things when you talk about economics and how that plays a role in parental involvement in school. If I'm working till 7 p.m., how much can I really just show up at school? I'm trying to pay these bills and the rent's too dang high, But I think that the thing that we have to move into is really starting to go back to what made the Black Wall Streets exist. What made it exist was community. What made those all of those spaces exist wasn't one person saying, I'm just going to focus on only my wealth and my children's wealth. It was a community coming together and saying, how do we help each other and how do we build this thing together? And I think that the only way to get to a point where we feel like we overcame some stuff is if we do it together. And if we can come together and agree that everyone deserves a better chance, everyone deserves more access to all the things and tools that they need to be a great individual in society and just to be able to exist, at this point, I think we need to do that. That is the thing that will help us overcome. Us together, us unifying, and also welcoming allies in that, and allies really understanding that you're an ally, please don't take it over. Like true allyship. And what does advocacy look like? So I'm hopeful that we can continue to grow, but we can't do it with a focus only on our own. We have to focus together.
Oh, that was a beautiful response, Shanelle. Thank you. Thank you so much for that response. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for joining us on this special Black History Month edition of Tutors, Mentors in the City. And I'll see you on the next one, okay?
Yes, so good to see you. Please have a wonderful day, wonderful week, all of that good stuff. Wonderful month.
Absolutely. Wonderful Black History Month.